So I'm Maggie Appleton. I studied at the University of Birmingham as a Heritage Management Master's student at the Ironbridge Institute, and that was back in 1991. And I'm now the Chief Executive at the Royal Air Force Museum. So we've got two sites, one in North London and one relatively close to Birmingham in the Midlands next to RAF Cosford. So as a sector, of course, as a museums and heritage sector, we have a larger proportion now of women working in the sector, but still at the top of the sector, and certainly on board, it is still very male dominated. So most directors in larger national museums and larger local authorities remain male, as they do on boards, and certainly chairs of boards too. And I work for the Royal Air Force Museum, which again, our story is often a very male one. And so coming in as a woman who's a social historian, not a military historian, it was really interesting for me. And I have to say that I was a little bit conscious and wondering how that would play out for me coming into a museum where I had no military background. I'm a social historian, and I'm a woman, and I'm a working class woman as well. So, you know, all those very interesting things when, you know, working in what could be seen as a white male, privileged, you know, sector as museums and the RAF, so you've got a double whammy there almost. What I absolutely found, and you know, somewhat I must admit to my surprise, and certainly with the RAF themselves, we're a separate independent charity, but there is a clue in our name and we work very closely with them sharing their story, was my absolute delight and surprise at the way that I was welcomed as someone who was a storyteller and wanted to tell stories. So the kit is the holder of the story, and certainly the RAF I have never found and come across anyone who has been at all unwelcoming to that way. Equally than wanting to tell stories in a very authentic way, in a way that isn't, you know, just a hurrah. So that was surprising and delightful. That's not to say I haven't met it with other people as I've gone through my career. And, you know, very occasionally people who I've come across when I'm working for the RAF Museum that haven't been RAF but have been from other partners. But generally, I have to say, I think by being really clear about your motivations from the beginning and what you believe in, whatever they are, is absolutely the starting point. So when I came for my job, I was really clear that why I was interested in it was about storytelling, telling stories through objects. So because that's my passion, not because I'm a woman, but you know, that's my passion. So I would say always make sure you've got allies and networks, because you will come across those times when it's difficult as a woman. Have those allies, have those people to talk to, and sometimes your allies are men as well. So be open to that as well. So working at the RAF Museum is really interesting in terms of how we tell stories that are for everyone, because for us the priority is that our museum is there for absolutely everyone, and we chose that everyone word in our vision very carefully. And as a woman, but also someone who's just really keen on making sure that everyone's stories are represented, at our major redisplay at our London site in 2018, but also in our exhibition development that we've done since, and certainly in our new Bomber Command exhibitions coming up this year at both our sites, we're very keen to draw out stories of both men and women, of people from different walks of life in society and people of colour. And there are those people represented in the RAF story right from the beginning through to now. And that might mean that when you come in, you see more faces of women than perhaps were proportionally involved in the RAF in the First World War, for example. But actually, we were very clear and thought that carefully through as our strategy, because it is actually about connecting people now with the RAF and RAF story. So we've just got some amazing people, from engineers to pilots to vicars, who are women, and some of them transgender women too, who tell their stories, and we then tell their stories as a helicopter pilot, or as a, and of course they happen to be the person who's speaking is a woman. So we aren't having separate exhibitions about women or people of colour. What we're doing is integrating them into all our storytelling, and really sharing those stories across all our platforms, through our events, through our exhibitions, and through workshopping.